opportunity to find out more about a career in the Defence Force, where you can talk to one of dozens of different people from all three services about one of the 260 jobs in the Australian Defence Force. I'm here with Ben.
Hey Nick, how you going?
So Ben, you're based here as a recruiter here in Hobart.
Yep. So I'm an aircraft technician by trade, but at the moment I'm recruiting from Hobart. So I'm down here for a couple of years, which is good. Yeah.
And how good is this opportunity for people in Tasmania to check this stuff out?
This is really great. It's not every day that you actually get to talk to a lot of the people in the specific roles. So we have all of the different sections of the ADF down here. We've got our medical, we've got our cooks, and to talk to those people in those roles, you really get that good sense of what they do. So
we've got submariners, you can talk to submariners, we've got pilots, we've got air combat officers, we've got people in the Army Reserve, and that's probably a good opportunity to talk. But first we've got a bit of an intro. So we've got all sorts of different people. We've even got four-legged people down here as well. Four-legged members of the Defence Force.
We will be on
Are you tired, mate?
So he's been going strong. So this is Yarden. He's 14 weeks old and he's in training to be hopefully a detective dog within the Australian Defence Force.
So all sorts of different things down here in Hobart. So it's here today for schools, and we're also here tomorrow all day. From what time?
9 till 3:30.
Awesome. So what we might do is we might go and talk to our Army Reserve guys now. So, g'day, how you going?
Hi, how you going?
So this is Brittany.
Hi.
What do you do with yourself in Army Reserve here?
So I'm a driver with Second Force Support Battalion with Hobart, and I've been in for 10 years.
So what's great about being in the Army Reserve in Hobart?
Look, I love it because it is local, so I can just drive there on a Wednesday night. It takes me 5 minutes to get there. I've got awesome friends in Hobart that we hang out with on the weekends, and I love that I get to have skills that I wouldn't do in my normal everyday job, and I get to play with trucks of a Wednesday night, I guess, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you're not interested in a full-time commitment, Army Reserve is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of units here that you can come down and talk to?
Yeah, so up here we have our reserve display. So we've got transport, we've got infantry, we've also got artillery guys. So up here you can come and play with the weapons. You can ask questions about what it's like to be in. We've also got people who want to be officers in the reserves as well too. And you can learn a bit about all the jobs. You can actually pick up the weapons and have a play with them too, which is pretty cool.
So if you ever wondered how heavy a Steyr is, if you ever wondered how heavy a Kevlar helmet is, you could probably put it on even more correctly than what I am. But the fact is that you can come down here and you can do it. And you can see what it's like.
Yep. Yeah. So we're here tomorrow as well, obviously. So and we're here all day. So there's plenty of soldiers to answer all your different questions about what it's like to be a reservist.
And it's not as difficult or as heavy a commitment as you think, is it?
No, it's not. So you do minimum 20 days a year, but what I like about reserves and what's actually kept me here for 10 years is the fact that it's just so flexible. So I've had some years where I've done lots of army, and other years I've done hardly any. So it is really flexible, and you can do as much or as little as you can do at the time, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so there's officer careers here.
Yep. So there's officer careers. So I'm transport. So my unit has admin assistants. We have cooks. We have people in trades. We have them in Devonport, Hobart, Launceston, Warrane. So there's positions everywhere. We've got people who want a bit more of a challenge, and they can go and be officers in the reserves. We've got riflemen, and the list goes on. Like there's heaps of different opportunities, and I think there's over something like 290 jobs in defence that you can come and learn about here at the Expo. So lots of things.
And so what do you reckon that the best thing for you about being in the Army Reserve is as well? Is it?
I think for me, probably the personal growth aspect in that. So I'm a social worker in my civilian career, so I sit at a computer and I talk to people all day. But here, I get to learn skills about vehicles and about military equipment that I wouldn't usually get to use. So I love that I get to adapt my knowledge and learn things that I wouldn't usually get to, and make awesome friends. I've got friends all over Australia, which I love. Okay. So that's cool too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Army Reserve, if that's your thing, if you want to stay in Tasmania and serve locally, come down and have a chat to these guys. You're here all day tomorrow from 9:30 to 3:30. So thank you very much for the time.
That's all right, no worries.
Awesome.
Thanks. Cool.
So there's plenty on display here, Ben. So if Army Reserve is not your thing, we've got Air Force.
All of our equipment takes maintainers. We take a lot of support staff to keep the aircraft in the air. So a whole bunch of roles here that you can come down and chat to us about on the day.
Yeah, okay. And there's a bunch of exciting new platforms in Air Force, F-35.
Yeah, we've got the F-35. We've recently got the Spartans, little transport aircrafts, and across the board, like even Navy. Navy have got a lot of equipment and a lot of new platforms coming in, submarines, ships and all that, and they're all going to take, the brightest young people, out there that come and help us maintain them and support them, and
With all these new platforms, there's obviously a lot of new technology, and you need new skills.
Yep, yeah, definitely, and all those creative minds out there, it's the little ideas that sort of we bring in from everywhere and put into place, and that's sort of how we grow and develop, and
Yep. So if you want a career in the Navy, there's lots of people down here as well. In particular, up here, and we'll get to it as well as we weave through the crowd. There's a couple of submariners you can talk to. That's obviously a big project.
Yep, and that's a really interesting role. It's not something you can do in a civilian sector. So their job is going to be very specific. It's going to have little intricacies that some people might not know about, and it might be a really good starting point and just trigger people's interest. So and they're the guys that are going to be able to tell them all about all the lifestyle, the role and everything that goes with it.
So as well as people here, tomorrow there's lots of displays as well. There's a couple of there's a sort of mini theaterette where you can come to an info session.
Yeah. So we've got presentations throughout the day. We have trades presentations. We have a whole bunch of people going to be doing specific talks. We've got roulettes coming over. We've got the Navy band doing displays as well. We've got the precision drill team flicking the rifles around.
Yeah, we'll show you a bit of that later. So
it'll be good.
Hold on. So there's a huge amount of stuff going on tomorrow from 9:30 to 3:30. So come on down. The tour doesn't stop there. We're going to hand over now. We're going to talk to Jen, Meg and Jackie about some of the opportunities in the aviation roles and officer roles.
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. My name's Meg, and I'm here with Jen and Jackie, and we're here to give you a bit more insight onto what's happening at the Hobart Expo. So, Jen, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Major Genevieve Ruger. I'm an Army officer and a helicopter pilot. Been in defence now for about 20 years, and I've done a raft of different jobs in defence, so not just piloting, deployed on operations a couple of times, and right now I'm at Defence Force Recruiting as part of the Specialist Recruiting Team for Women.
Wonderful. And Jackie, what about yourself?
Hi, I'm Flight Lieutenant Jackie Killian. I'm an air combat officer. So I used to work on the P3 Orion aircraft out of Adelaide as a tactical coordinator, but I'm also in the specialist recruiting team for women out of Melbourne, but I've also been an instructor as well in my time in defence.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're here at the Hobart Expo. What can people expect to see if they come down and check it out?
Yeah, look, I'd really encourage people, if you do have an interest, big or small, in the Defence Force, please come down and check it out. When I joined Defence 20 years ago, this wasn't an opportunity for me, and I think it would have been a real advantage. So some of the things you can see here are some of our equipment. We have a lot more. Defence is investing a lot of money in technology these days as well. A lot of that technology isn't here today, but we absolutely have subject matter experts who can tell you all about it. You have the opportunity to be speaking to general entry, soldiers, sailors, airmen, airwomen, officers, pilots, reservists, Army, Navy and Air Force personnel. So I would highly encourage you to come on down and have a chat.
Sounds amazing. So Jackie, you had mentioned before that you're an air combat officer. Can you explain to us what that actually means and what you actually do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Air Combat Officer is a really varied role. So we actually have 3 areas that you can work in. You can be an Air Battle Manager and work in airspace and aircraft control, or you can be a Weapons Systems Operator on the Super Hornet, controlling the weapon systems and missions on that. Or you can be what I do, which is the Tactical Coordinator on the P3 Orion. So basically, we're mission commanders on those aircraft, and we coordinate with the other people in our team to get information into the aircraft, make a decision about what we have to do with that, and then I like to say I get to tell pilots where to go for a living. So
that sounds pretty good. Now, you would have gone through ADFA to get to become an ACO. Can you tell us about your time at ADFA?
Absolutely. So I loved ADFA. It was a great way to do a degree. So I did a science degree in maths and physics, which is super cool, I know. But it's a great way to study. You get paid. Your degree gets paid for. But the best thing about it is you're living with 800 people who are also in the Defence Force for those same reasons. You get to play sport with them. I learned how to play rugby, and I'm a Melbourne girl. You also get to do all of your military training at the same time. And there's plenty of activities you can do that you wouldn't think of Defence. For example, I actually directed the musical in my third year.
There you go. Yeah. Amazing. And Jen, you also went through ADFA as well. Was your experience pretty similar to Jackie's?
Yeah, so one of the things that I enjoyed about ADFA was the time I got to spend with the people there. So relatively like-minded, a lot of sports. Sports always been something I've been interested in during my younger years, which flowed through into my Defence Force years. And I guess the opportunity to study at Uni of New South Wales through the ADFA campus was something quite unique as well. So a highly regarded degree as well.
Yep, wonderful. And Jen, you're a pilot and an Army officer, which is a pretty male-dominated field. What's it like to be a woman in the Australian Defence Force?
Well, funnily enough, I get asked that question fairly regularly, what it's like to be a woman in the Defence Force. I don't know what it's like to be a man in the Defence Force, so I'll answer what it's like for me to be in the Defence Force. I think the fact that I've now been in for 20 years says something in itself, and I'm still standing here in a recruiting role with a big smile on my face, and it's a very genuine one. I've had a raft of experiences within the Defence Force, not just the piloting role, and it's something that I believe has created a really holistic life for me and now my family, as I've got 2 young children as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, well, excellent. Well, we're going to head off, but thank you so much for your time, Jackie. And we're going to chat a bit more about RMC with Jen. So let's go for a walk. So, Jen, you mentioned that you were an Army officer. As an Army officer, you train and study at RMC. Can you tell us a bit about RMC?
Yeah, sure. So my experience, so I joined through ADFA first, so 3 years doing a degree, and then 12 months at the Royal Military College, Duntroon. That is our Army officer training establishment, and it is extremely challenging, which isn't to put people off, by the way, but it's the realism of it is that it is very challenging. But at each stage of the process, at each training step, you know that you've achieved that step and you can move on and you have those skills. Yeah. And it's a really great opportunity to practice those leadership skills. As an Army officer, you are, I guess your role is threefold. You are there for command, leadership and management reasons.
Yeah, wonderful. So I know that there is an RMC scholarship available. Can you tell us, our audience, a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So our Royal Military College Duntroon has 3 scholarships on offer to any of our Army officer applicants. Mm-hmm. There's a Leadership and Management Scholarship on offer. There is also a Women in Management Scholarship on offer and an Indigenous Management Scholarship on offer. Each one of those scholarships is worth $10,000 perhaps to you. And that is available to you upon appointment. So it's in the application process that you need to apply for this.
Wonderful, thanks, Jen. So if you want to find out more about potentially applying for the Australian Defence Force or just coming in and talking to people, please do come and attend the Hobart Expo. We have a public day tomorrow, so do check it out, and we will have some expos happening across the country if it's not happening in your local area. But now we're going to cut over to Nick and Ben, who are out the front. Okay, wonderful. So we aren't yet. So Jen, can you tell us a bit more about some of the things that you do outside of the military? Tell us a bit about your hobbies and things.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things I mentioned before is I love fitness. So that will always be part of my life, I think. The other thing that I love to do, 2 other things, I guess, is spend time with my family. I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, a a 4-year-old boy, 6-year-old girl, and I get the opportunity whilst I'm at Defence Force recruiting to work in a part-time capacity. So I work 4 days a week, which gives me that extra day to spend with my family. Those 4 days means I work pretty intensely, but it's a wonderful opportunity, I think, to combine my skills in Defence Force with the time that I spend with my family. Being part of that life balance. People sometimes refer to it as work-life balance. I like to think of it as life balance in total. The other thing I love to do is to fly helicopters. So I currently have a civilian flying job as well, and I juggle that into the mix, and I get to spend a little bit of time keeping up my flying skills as well. So.
Wonderful. I've never flown in a helicopter, but could you tell us a bit what that feels like?
I certainly can. The first time I flew, in particular in a Black Hawk, was a really exciting day for me, and it felt like it's kind of this big moth, kind of just sitting there in the hover. Being able to hover, I think, is a really unique ability in life, I guess, and that sensation of being in the hover is something that I really enjoy. In terms of flying, I think the capability of being able to fly up, below 10,000 feet in the helicopter, but then come down to a couple of hundred feet and be down quite low not in the tree line, but just above, I guess, is a really unique thing to do as well, and it's an exhilarating feeling for me. So I've done that now with the military. And I used to work at Holsworthy Barracks in a counter-terrorism role there, so I've done some pretty intense training with that squadron in the past. These days, my flying is I'll be involved soon in aerial attack for fires and other sort of operational roles. So and I see that as still assisting the community, similar to the defence role there.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Jen. And we are now going to cut to Nick and Ben, who are out the front of the Expo Hall with the Federation Guards. So thank you guys so much, and over to you, Nick.
Okay, we showed you inside, and now we're outside. So it's the Hobart Expo has a whole bunch of different things. So behind us, there's a few vehicle static displays. So we've got a ASLAV there. So you can get to go in there and check it out. Ask the guys what's going on. We've also got some Unimogs, some G-Wagons. I think that's the wrecker truck. And there's also some displays going, and we might get to see one of those. One of those will be the precision drill team.
Yeah, yep. So they basically practice precision movements, and we'll do a lot of drill, which we do as a military force, I suppose. But they'll do it as a bit of a show.
Cool. So it is live, and we've got the opportunity to answer a few of your questions that have come through. I'll just see if we can get a microphone to you. So. Couple of questions that have come through. So Chelsea Pet asked, will this event ever be in Sydney? We're planning one. We haven't got a secure date for you, but it'll probably be next year. So that's just stay in touch with the page, and we'll let you know certainly when there's one coming up. Peter Francis asked, what are the ages required to join the ADF?
Yep, so you need to be 17 to actually join the military, but you can apply at 16 and a half. Or if you're looking at ADFA, you can be 16 when you apply, but by the time you go through the process, usually you have to be 17 before you join. So,
and it's not a quick process to join, is it?
No, there's a number of steps, and the first step is to come down and get all that information. We don't sort of just suck people in. There's quite a few different steps they need to go through. Get all the information that they need so that they can choose a career that suits them, and then we basically step them through the rest. There'll be an assessment day, and then after that, for the officers, they'll go away, do another assessment. Okay, and there's a fitness assessment because in the military we need to remain fit, and then from there, they'll join after that.
So, in terms of it takes a bit of time, but it is certainly possible. And if you're not sure about some things, this is the time to find out, where you can actually come down and talk to people. So we're outside, so we might get to see the precision drill team in a bit. But tomorrow as well, the other activities that are on is...
Yeah, we've got the roulettes. They're going to do some flyover displays. We have the precision drill team again, and we have the Navy Band as well. They're going to do a performance for us.
Okay.
And we have a whole heap of talks and that will be specific for trades and different roles.
We're not sure whether we're going to be in the way here or not. Are we going to be in the way?
About 5 minutes, probably yes.
Okay, well maybe we might keep going for 5 minutes, and we're just going to... We are live. You may have seen that by our smooth transition before. we do our best. It's a tricky thing. We've also got nice rain and weather and all sorts of other things to deal with. But if you've got any other questions, shoot them through. We'll certainly try and get through.
The big thing is to come down and actually find out a bit more about the Defence Force. We do a whole range of tasks, and a lot of it is what people wouldn't even expect. Like a lot of our work we do is humanitarian aid, and people will have a conception of what we do, but to come down and actually find out what specific roles do in the Defence Force is that's the first step.
Yep.
Yeah,
and there's a lot more different roles than you can think about.
Yep.
John Cochrane asks, what about Melbourne? Will they be setting up here? The answer to that question is yes. So in February next year, there's going to be one of an ADF Careers Expo in Melbourne. We've had one the last couple of years as well. So it's even bigger than this one. So that's something else if you're in Melbourne. But you don't always need to wait for these sort of opportunities to happen as well.
No, definitely. We travel around quite a bit doing sort of career promotional activities. So keep an eye out of where we are on the page. But you can come into the centre and ask us. We're there sort of every day of the week. Call 131901. Go online. You can you can touch base with us that way, and then we can from there. Once we know you're interested, then we can sort of take it from there and guide you through the process.
So. The Defence Jobs website's an enormous amount of information there. You can reach out to us on the social channels, either on Defence Jobs Australia, on the Facebook page. If you're watching this, you've obviously found us. So if you ask a question, we will absolutely answer every single question that is asked of us. So it's another great way to find out.
Yeah. But if you can make it down to the Expo, definitely come down. This is a really great opportunity to talk to those people in the specific roles. So if you are interested in medicine, your submariner type roles, your technical type roles, engineering, anything like that, these are the guys and girls and ladies that are in the roles right now, and they'll be able to give you the best insights. So, yeah.
So in other things coming up, we're also in 2 weeks' time going to go live at Kapuka, the home of the soldier, for a couple of Facebook Live sessions as well.
Yeah, nice.
So for those who are interested in the Army and want to know what it's like, every soldier will go through Kapuka. So
yep, they will. So it was So all the army will go through their Kapuka phase, but each service has its own military training phase. And that's one of the really great things about the military is they train you in everything you need to do. Before I joined, all of my aircraft experience was basically I'd seen Top Gun. I didn't know it was a Navy movie, so Air Force. That's basically I didn't know anything else. So I joined. They took me all the way through my training. They taught me everything I need to know. Put you with guys that are working in those roles. And they guide you from there.
And as you can probably see behind us, there's heaps of school kids coming through. It's a day mainly for schools today, but tomorrow is open to the public. parents, friends, anyone interested.
Yeah. Free entry.
Free entry.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's all right.
So we're waiting for our soldiers to pair up. We may or may not do it. We'll just go back to the any other questions that are coming through. Harry de Graaf asks, how long does it take to acquire a trade in the Defence Force in mechanics?
Yep, so depends on what trade you're actually doing. There's no sort of one set answer. So, for an aircraft technician, you're going to have, probably 3 to 4 years before you're fully qualified. You'll go through all your journal, you'll do hands-on work at your units and your squadrons. So yeah, it does take a little while. Your trades obviously will have a return of service of generally 6 to 7 years, but it's not much to ask considering they're paying you from day one. They're teaching you everything you need to know in that trade, giving you the skills, travelling. It's all covered, so it's great.
And then that is one of the unique things about the Australian Defence Force. They will give you the training. So
yeah, yep.
So you can come in. You don't need to be trained. We can give you that sort of training.
Yep. The really big thing, if you're looking at a trade, is you're gonna make sure you need your education requirements are met. So Year 10 English, Maths and Science for your trades. So we have technical roles and non-technical roles. English and Maths for non-technical roles, and a science component for technical roles.
Okay. So we're just being ushered to move out of the way as our drill team comes through. They're just a couple of minutes away. So if you ever wondered what it's like. So the Federation Guard travel the world to do drill, pretty much, in a very high level and sophisticated way.
Yeah. I don't know if I have the skills to do it, but they are very well trained and very well prepared. It's great watching them. The way that they can sort of manoeuvre themselves around.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool stuff.
Okay, so it's interesting that the rain has chosen this exact time to come down. So that's just the way it goes.
The really big thing for Hobart or Tasmania for defence is the reserves. I know we mentioned it before with Brittany, but we really need a lot of reserves. And it's a really great way for not only just coming in to do the reserve work, do something different, learn skills, but also the networking. Yep. So a lot of the people in reserves are in business themselves. So you really do make a lot of network connections that way too. So.
And I was talking to Brittany earlier, and she started a role in Newcastle. And she worked up there while she was studying as a reservist, and then moved down here and took those skills down here. So yep. That is another sort of benefit. You can take your skills and you can take them wherever.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the training that you get in the military is a civilian accredited. So it's great. You can something that you can take away if you ever want to do something else later down the track. Okay.
So there may be a few bangs. So RIP headphone users if that gets a bit loud, but we will do our best, and we'll give you a bit of an insight into what goes on. So the precision drill team, as we sort of look at these guys, all 3 services. So and they're in their formal uniforms. Is that right?
Yes.
And so that's starting out with Navy.
We have Air Force on the right, then Army, then Navy.
Yeah. So there you go. It's part of the precision drill team. You can see another demonstration of that tomorrow. So 9:30 to 3:30, come on down, and that's a wrap. We are in the way.